In spite of the craziness in the world we're living in right now, one thing is positive. The establishment know that if people keep coming together and standing up to them, they do not stand a chance. I had a fantastic conversation with Jimmy Dore, fellow YouTuber, fantastic comedian, brilliant man, independent thinker. You should watch his channel and subscribe to that too. He came on my podcast Under the Skin and talked about the Democrat Party, how they're betraying people, how the establishment is falling apart. Funny, insightful, well-researched. Stay to the end of this clip because I want you to comment. I want to know exactly what you think about it. As well as having high-level conversations with brilliant thinkers, I'm touring all over the UK. You can come see me in Glasgow, Plymouth, Newcastle, Bristol. There's a link in the description to come see me live. You won't believe these shows. They're crazy. Come see me. Right, let's get into this.
What seem to you to be the absolute priorities in creating a new politics? You know, like media control, freedom of speech, allocation of funds, real democracy, waking people up. Which is just like, I know this is your bread and butter. You do it every day. What would be your priorities, and would you address some of the things I said, like that sort of local, like that tax autonomy model and stuff?
Well, let me just say this before I address your question directly, is that, you know, I live in California. Now, California is the 5th largest economy in the world. Just the state of California. And we have a supermajority Democrats elected in California to run our state legislature. Supermajority, meaning Republicans can't stop anything the Democrats want to do. And we also have a Democratic governor. So if you think the fix to capitalism or oligarchy or to the republicanism or corporatism or to any of the problems in your life is voting harder Democrat, this should disabuse you of that idea. There's people sleeping under every bridge in California. We don't have student debt relief. We don't have, people can't afford to live here. We have unbelievable income disparity. We have a housing crisis, and we don't have health care in California. So if you think you can vote your way by voting Democrat out of any problem you're in, that is ridiculous. And that's why when people come on your show and say, we got to just vote harder for Democrats to fix it, they don't even believe that. That's just a lie. That's no one who is a sentient being who's been alive for the last 6 years. I've been watching politics since 1980. Nobody could believe that. That's just a bullshit, 100% on its face. The people who keep telling you to vote for Democrats are people who don't want to actually get outside the polite society that they circle in. You know, the bubbles that they travel in. They want to stay friends with all those people people who are oppressing workers and all that stuff. And they don't want to. That's what that is about. Now, how can we get more control over our government? Now, I mentioned Ralph Nader before, and I said this before I knew he had said this, but in 2015, 2016, I was telling people, because the Democratic Party had cheated Bernie Sanders. That's not hyperbole. It was proven. People had to step down in shame that they were cheating. Hillary Clinton was literally running the Democratic National Committee during the primary, which is, you know, that's fraud. That's unethical fraud and should be criminal. So what I told people is, you can't now give your vote to these people. So what you have to do is, if everybody who voted for Bernie withheld their vote and told pollsters that they're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton, she would be down 10% in the polls, and she would never have a chance to beat Donald Trump. And so then we would have power. And then the Democratic Party would have to come to us, because then they can't win an election without us. So we would be forcing some kind of an issue there. And so that's what Ralph Nader was saying all the time. We don't have to win an election. If we can get 10% or 15% of the people, 10 million or 15 million people, to band together and say, we're not voting for you unless you promise us health care. We're not voting for you unless you promise to end the wars and invest that money back here. We're not voting for you unless you promise to cancel our student debt. We're not voting for you unless you promise to give us a living wage. They would have all that power. Now it's up to the Republicans or the Democrats. Which ones do you want? And now it'll be all out in the open. And if neither of them wanted those votes, that's when we'd have another trucker sit down where they would shut stuff down. So that was my big idea, Russell, that you don't need to get enough people in a third party or a major party that could actually win a national election. You just need to get enough people that are like-minded who are willing to not vote for those parties. And that's how you influence them. And that's how you can have massive. So we're not going to get anything in the United States without massive public displays of protest, right? Direct action. So that's what's happening in Canada, and they don't want to cover that. As you mentioned, they're not covering it, and if they do, they cover it in a disparaging way because strikes are catchy. When that stuff, when people see how well that's working, how much that has the establishment shitting their pants, because they have to stop that soon. And as soon as, if people saw that, we could actually take our power back, right? I said if everybody who worked at UPS and Amazon just didn't go to work for 2 days, the whole country would stop. And so they have to realize their power. But the problem is unions also get corrupted. And so now the major unions aren't really against the oligarchy. They are the oligarchy. So that's why it has to come from the bottom up. It has to come from the grassroots. And as far as the things that you talked about, like more local level participation where you can see where your tax dollars go, yeah, I mean, of course, that is the, if you could start at a local level, that's always the best. You know, we were lobbying here with Ron Placone in Pasadena, California. We would go to the city council meetings and we would lobby our representatives for broadband, right? Why can't we have universal broadband provided by the city, and how it would save everybody money and how it actually. And so anyway, I'm with you on that. I need more ideas that way. I'm not, I haven't looked into it probably as much as you have, but yeah, I'm all for that.
Hey, so how did you there's a few more. I mean, I've got questions to fill the entire hour of content. You'll be astonished that I'm a professional person. But Jimmy, I want to know like a little bit more biographically, like how did you come to cultivate this perspective? How do you manage the tension between being an entertainer and an activist, obviously explicitly and in a pretty dedicated way? That's what you are. How do you manage that tension? How did you cultivate these views?
If you enjoyed that conversation with Jimmy Dore, you might consider signing up to Luminary, when my podcast Under the Skin comes out every week. I speak to amazing, influential, independent thinkers. What did you make of that? Jimmy Dore, working class background, brought up by a copper, recognizing that the Democrat Party is hollowed out and empty. Do you think that's true? Do you think the Republican Party are any better? Do you think that what Jimmy says is true? That if we start coming together, overlooking superficial differences, forming new alliances, we will terrify them? That surely is our future. But that's just what I think. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to it. I'm on tour all over the UK. Come see me in Newcastle, Hull, Bristol, Plymouth. I'm all over the gaff. There's a link in the description if you want to come see me live, and please sign up to my mailing list too. If you enjoyed this video, have a little look at this one. This video is blowing up on social media. It's one of our most viewed videos. And have a look at this one, another one that's going to change your perspective on an important issue. Stay free.